Good day, this is E.T. here, introducing to the world a new idea, a new development on democracy. It's called Coopracy. Coopracy is natural evolutionary development of society through its own will and freedom and liberty. And it opposes what the left is doing to people to divide society. So I'm just going to read this and do my best to explain it over the next year or so it's left as a legacy. Coopracy. C-O-O-P-R-A-C-Y. Think about it. Corporate nature of politics has over the last few decades changed the nature of democracy itself. It is not any longer politics for the people, it is politics to disguise practices that enrich those favoured by the association. They are creating a new privileged class. Due to historical factors, the nature of capitalism itself has changed. And as the population grows and cost of its upkeep grows, the only policies so far continue within the vein established that forevermore increases the wealth of fewer and fewer as things become monopolized. Something is wrong with the logic and rationale of the political narrative itself. There is something amiss for decades in the dialogue, and it is honestly about the times we are entering. As costs soar to finance ever more deficit and amazingly irresponsible inflation in energy and housing costs, has created a geometric increase in the spread of costs of running all businesses and services. It is obvious there are no political parties announcing policies that make actual sense. Coopracy is a 21st century development of what democracy may become if we take an impartial and objective analysis of an holistic view of the facts about economics, human beings and the fiscal system, and the reality of capitalism itself, and the need for social civility, social security systems that make sure that people are not impoverished by the monopolistic system. Capitalism itself has been adapted out of the industrial venture risks taken to instant gratification capitalism, which appears to now be the left's view of what the Australian or American dream should become. If we take the idiomatic ideology in regards to the meaning of equality to its nth degree, it is meaningless in nature and dangerous in action. As politics have worked with financial arms to inflate housing and rents, the natural incentive that drives humans to strive for better hardly fits the bill, with ordinary wages becoming to a subsistent level. And debt is the only way families sustain living standards and the economy. There is required now a new philosophy that satisfies the young people of being brought up to expect material reward without effort, and equality regardless of the cost of effect upon productive employees, who are ironically becoming victims to the present-day Marxists. Many young people today are indeed victims of an insidious, politically manifested social disorder, much of it stemming from universities which they are sucked into to induce them into debt, and at the same time attempt to brainwash them out of their intuitive ability to question political reality, and of course to hide the actual unemployment level. It is a massively manifested process of political dishonesty in which contemporary political parties play a part in Parliament, pretending to be against each other, but acting in sync to protect their political acquired gains. No one in fact represents the young people of the world at all. Coopracy offers a new outlook to the future. We ask, what is capital now? What does capital mean? Can capital evolve in its meaning? And of course it should. All words and all idioms must evolve to suit the times or become redundant as a word. Given the fact we are entering the third phase of employment deficit, we can now suggest leisure is a new capital. Leisure is a new metaphor for capital, because people work hard hoping to have great leisure. Let's look at that in context later. Using a rational approach of fiscal osmosis through volunteer participation in ideas and volunteer selection, it is possible to adapt society to a 22-hour week for all people, and that's equality. It's not wealth, it's what is time. Time's the most important thing to people as they're alive. Equality in time, what they do with the quality of time, that's up to them, but equality in time as you're living for your leisure has got to be the great equalising thing for all humans. And it's the intelligent step to take next. By about 2040, if we enact politics or policies within the next few years, this can actually take place with great ease. No one is hurt, there are no revolutions required, it's just a matter of changing over the decades, like travelling without moving, as the Taoists say. It's not about making length of time to work compulsory, it's about saying this is a possibility. A 22-hour week for all people is quite a possibility if we look at the maths and adjust the system geometrically through time. It is a simple matter of cultural adaptation that answers almost all the political questions we could call upon, from reducing cost of debt per service, reducing CO2 emissions, reduces serfdom in workers, reduces the pressure on women to leave their children. It enhances employment, it spreads employment through services. What jobs are left are not taken by robots, it spreads the jobs out, it spreads the load, that's equality. It reduces traffic jams, it reduces pressures on the roads, it reduces the need to use fuel, it reduces the costs of going to work, because the less time you spend on the road, the less fuel you use, so therefore you're not paying your fuel bill as a tax on going to work. They don't tell you that bit about when you pay tax, when you pay your fuel to go to work, you're paying a tax to go to work. It develops drought-proof systems, and that takes appropriate action to Australia's climate and maybe America's climate problem as well. This allows an infinitely flexible employment arrangement for direct employment of refugees in development of the country their children shall inherit. It takes pensions and retirement arrangements out of the serf master age into the age of liberation and free choice. It alters the way people think according to the actual times we are entering. Contemporary politics exists in a factual sense within a period between 1394, in London Incorporated, and 1756, when Adam Smith so beautifully described what are moral guides to capitalist practice, so social security occurs naturally. Much has happened since 1756, such as the generations of electricity and bloom of oil. It is by understanding the meaning of that in context to the variety of matters across the fiscal and economic spectrum, and taking into account population growth as robots and computer replace humans, we begin to see both the dangers and the possible beauty of a new age for humanity. As it is contemporary politics has no answers. It acts like it is afraid of the raptors surrounding its nest and is out of date because it refuses to modernize the practices a few decades ago that has resulted in the imbalance and the debt politics alone caused to be. Politics catered to weakness, not strength and goodness in people, and itself has become weak and against basic goodness in the way it acts, as it sets people against people. People have no choice but to vote in Australia, but by understanding what corporate politics has been doing and countries continues unabated means people ought to consider boycotting the major parties, which the Greens happen to be just another version of. All are now past their use by date. If they were a bag of fruit, we would throw them in a bin. Demography, if it understood the power is in its vote, would know it really has the power over politics to say enough already of this. We need them to wake up and act once again for the people, not the corporations. By considering a new move, the incorporation of the people within the context of the times allows evolution in fiscal and economics, and through that eventually catches up with the time lost through bad math politics. I'm E.T. I will explain this further in the year to come, so it will left for the legacy for people to act on or not. I'll leave it to nature. Thank you. Bye bye.